The history books have taught you the names Copernicus and Marie Curie. But what about the ones they missed? The spy who saved Europe from a nuclear war? The pharmacist who lit up the world? Or the woman who saved thousands of children from the Warsaw Ghetto and was erased from her country's memory for decades? Polish history is defined by courage, not just genius. Today we're talking about the most underrated heroes of Poland. Their actions changed the world, yet their names are barely known outside of Poland. Stay with me, because their stories of sacrifice and sheer brilliance deserve a permanent place in the global pantheon of heroes. If you care about justice for the historical underdog, hit that subscribe button right now. Our first hero operates in the shadows of the Cold War, a man whose treason against his own government likely prevented the world from seeing a nuclear conflict. This is the story of Colonel Ryszard Kuklinski. Imagine you are a high-ranking officer in the Polish People's Army working directly within the Warsaw Pact command structure, fully trusted by the Soviets. You know all their war plans, their codes, and their most secret strategies. Now, imagine realizing that those plans don't protect Poland. They guarantee its destruction. Kuklinski saw the terrifying reality. The Soviet plan for a war with NATO involved a massive nuclear-first strike. Poland was not a beneficiary of this strategy. It was the battlefield, the radioactive meat shield. For him, the choice was simple, even if the penalty was death. He had to stop it. Starting in 1972, Kuklinski became one of the most valuable spies in CIA history. He passed over 35,000 pages of top-secret documents, war plans, communication codes, deployment scenarios, and details on martial law. He exposed the precise intentions of the Soviet bloc at the height of the Cold War. In 1981, when General Jaruzelski was preparing to impose martial law, Kuklinski's intelligence allowed the West to fully anticipate the move, likely deterring a direct Soviet military intervention that could have escalated dramatically. For Poland, he was a traitor to the communist state. For the CIA, he was Jack Strong. But for you and me, he was a man who acted at extreme personal risk to save his country from a devastating future. The communist regime sentenced him to death in absentia. His story is a powerful reminder that heroism sometimes means betraying an unjust system. If this is the kind of moral courage you admire, let me know in the comments. What price would you pay for peace? Our second hero is a woman who stared into the heart of the Holocaust and refused to blink. She wasn't a soldier, she was a social worker. Her name is Irena Sendler. During the German occupation and the establishment of the Warsaw Ghetto, Irena saw children starving, dying, and destined for extermination. She couldn't stand by. She became the head of the children's section of Żegota, the Polish consul to aid Jews. Her method was simple, yet impossibly dangerous. She walked into the ghetto daily, claiming she was checking for typhus outbreaks, and smuggled children out. How did she do it? In suitcases, in coffins, under stretchers, through sewage tunnels, and through a secret trapdoor in a building near the ghetto border. The truly heroic part is not just the rescue, it's the organization. She saved over 2,500 children, meticulously recording their original names on tissue paper and burying the lists in glass jars in a neighbor's garden. Why? Because she believed that after the war, their Jewish identity was as important as their survival, and she wanted to ensure they could be reunited with any surviving relatives. Irena was caught by the Gestapo, tortured, and had her legs and feet broken. She never betrayed her organization or the location of the children. She survived, but after the war, the communist government largely ignored her achievements. She lived in relative obscurity, her heroism uncelebrated by the state for decades. She wasn't chasing glory, she was chasing salvation. The fact that the world knows so much about her now is a testament to the persistence of truth. And I hope you'll do your part to share this video so her story reaches even more people. Switching gears from warfare and rescue to science, we come to a revolutionary who literally helped light up the world, Ignacy Łukasiewicz. Most people think Thomas Edison invented the modern era of light, but it was Łukasiewicz a pharmacist from the Austrian partition of Poland, whose work in petroleum refining fundamentally changed human life in the 19th century. In the 1850s, he pioneered the process of distilling kerosene from crude oil. Before this, oil was mostly used for medicine, and lighting relied on dangerous whale oil or expensive candles. Wukasiewicz's refined kerosene was cheap, safe, and could be mass-produced. In 1853, he invented the kerosene lamp, an invention that extended the working day, made factories safer, and allowed people to read at night. It launched the first major global industry centered around oil, and it happened in Poland. He didn't stop there. He opened the world's first oil mine in Boborka in 1854, followed by the first oil refinery in Ulaszowice in 1856. Łukasiewicz was not just an inventor. He was a model entrepreneur and philanthropist. He shared his profits with his workers, funded local schools, and improved roads. He was a hero of industry and social justice, a perfect embodiment of Polish resourcefulness. He laid the groundwork for the modern global energy landscape, yet his name is often a footnote in the history of science. Our fourth hero is another scientist who turned his laboratory into a fortress against death. Professor Rudolf Weigel. His work, like Irena Sendler's, is a story of resistance that transcended science. Weigel was a biologist who developed the first effective vaccine against epidemic typhus, a devastating disease transmitted by lice that was rampant, especially in World War I and II. During the German occupation of Poland, Weigel was put in charge of a research institute in Lviv. The German authorities needed his vaccine to protect their troops. Weigel used this position to his advantage, transforming his institute into a haven. He hired Polish intellectuals, artists, and, crucially, thousands of Jews and members of the Polish resistance. Their official job: to serve as lice feeders, volunteers who allowed typhus-infected lice to feed on their blood to produce the vaccine. This dangerous, stomach-turning work provided them with German work papers, which offered protection from the Gestapo, forced labor, and extermination. Weigel's courage was twofold. He risked his life running an operation to save Polish intelligentsia and Jews, and he produced black market vaccine doses to smuggle into the ghettos and resistance groups. He saved thousands of lives, not with a weapon, but with a pipette and a conscience. He was nominated for the Nobel Prize repeatedly, but never received it. He was, however, recognized as righteous among the nations by Israel's Yad Vashem. His story is a chilling and beautiful example of how one can use science and institutional power to resist tyranny. Finally, we turn to the man whose concert tours were actually diplomatic missions, Ignacy Jan Paderewski. Most of the world knows him as a piano virtuoso and a towering figure of the Romantic era. But his most important composition was the Second Polish Republic. In the years leading up to 1918, Poland had been erased from the map. When World War I ended, the question of Poland's rebirth was not a high priority for the victorious powers. Paderewski changed that. His immense international fame as a pianist gave him unprecedented access to world leaders, particularly President Woodrow Wilson of the United States. He wasn't just a performer, he was a passionate, charismatic, and persuasive statesman. Paderewski personally lobbied President Wilson and convinced him to include the establishment of an independent Polish state as point 13 of his famous 14 points peace plan. This was a critical diplomatic turning point. Paderewski then returned to Poland, becoming the country's first prime minister and minister of foreign affairs in the newly independent state. He was a musician who commanded the respect of politicians and kings, using his art and fame as a tool for national liberation. He spent his fortune on the Polish cause and used his global platform to give Poland a voice when it had none. It's a powerful testament to how culture and soft power can achieve what armies cannot. The stories of Kuklinski, Sendler, Łukasiewicz, Weigel, and Paderewski are a necessary correction to our understanding of history. They remind us that for Poland, heroism is woven into the very fabric of its survival. From the light of the kerosene lamp to the darkness of Auschwitz, Polish figures consistently stepped up, often in roles far removed from traditional military glory, to preserve human life and freedom. They often paid a heavy price, and their stories are a reminder to us all that the history we learn is sometimes incomplete. If you believe these heroes deserve to be celebrated globally, give this video a like and share it with someone who doesn't know these names. Every view and every share is a small act of justice for their underappreciated legacy. What other overlooked Polish heroes should we cover next? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, subscribe to The Poland to keep discovering the stories that shaped this extraordinary nation. Thank you for watching.